Film production can be a costly process, but there are ways to reduce expenses without sacrificing the quality of the final product. Here are some tips to help you save money while still producing a professional and engaging film. Develop a clear and detailed budget. Before beginning production, it is essential to develop a clear and detailed budget. This will help you understand the expenses involved in the production process and make informed decisions about where to allocate resources. By keeping track of expenses and adjusting the budget as needed, you can avoid overspending and reduce unnecessary costs. Use existing locations. One of the most significant expenses in film production is location scouting and rental. To reduce these costs, consider using existing locations rather than building or renting new sets. For example, you could use a friend's house, a public park, or a local community center. This can help save money on set design, construction, and rental fees. Limit the use of special effects. Special effects can be expensive, and excessive use can quickly add up. Consider limiting the use of special effects to only those shots that are essential to the story. This can help reduce the cost of post-production and ensure that the special effects used are impactful and meaningful. Use natural lighting. Lighting can be a significant expense in film production. To save money, consider using natural lighting as much as possible. This can help create a more realistic and authentic look while also reducing the need for expensive lighting equipment. Utilize available resources. There are often free or low-cost resources available that can help reduce production costs. For example, you could use free editing software or borrow equipment from friends or local film schools. By utilizing these resources, you can reduce expenses without sacrificing the quality of the final product. Plan ahead. Planning ahead is essential to reducing production costs. By planning every aspect of the production process, you can anticipate and avoid potential obstacles and expenses. This can include creating a detailed shooting schedule, developing a script that is feasible for your budget, and planning for post-production. Consider crowdfunding. Crowdfunding can be a useful tool for raising money to fund a film project. By using platforms such as Kickstarter or Indiegogo, you can solicit support from a wide range of people and potentially raise the funds needed to produce your film. This can also help build an audience and generate buzz for the project. In conclusion, film production can be a costly process, but there are ways to reduce expenses without sacrificing the quality of the final product. By developing a clear and detailed budget, using existing locations, limiting the use of special effects, using natural lighting, utilizing available resources, planning ahead, and considering crowdfunding, you can save money and produce a professional and engaging film. Remember to approach film production with intention and care, paying attention to the details that make a film memorable and impactful. With practice and dedication, you can master the art of cost-effective film production. Using existing locations can be a cost-effective way to reduce expenses in film production. It involves finding and utilizing locations that already exist rather than building or renting new sets. Here are some tips for using existing locations effectively. Plan ahead. Before production begins, it is important to plan ahead and identify potential locations that can be used. This can include scouting locations in person or researching potential locations online. By identifying potential locations ahead of time, you can avoid costly location scouting and rental fees. Consider public spaces. Public spaces such as parks, streets, and libraries can be used for filming at little or no cost. Many cities also have film offices that can provide information about filming locations and any necessary permits. When filming in public spaces, it is important to be aware of any noise restrictions or other regulations that may impact the production. Use friends and family. Friends and family can be a great resource for finding and using existing locations. For example, you could use a friend's house or backyard for a scene, or a family member's car for a driving scene. This can help reduce expenses and also create a more personal and authentic look. Negotiate rental fees. If you do need to rent a location, it is important to negotiate rental fees and ensure that the location is being used efficiently. This can include negotiating discounts for multiple days of filming, avoiding peak rental times, and only renting the specific areas needed for filming. Be flexible. Being flexible and creative with locations can also help reduce expenses. For example, you could use a hallway or closet for a scene that requires a small space, or use a public park for a scene that takes place in nature. This can help create a more authentic and realistic look while also reducing rental costs. Special effects can be an effective tool for enhancing the visual impact of a film, but excessive use of special effects can quickly add up and become a major expense in film production. Here are some tips for limiting the use of special effects and reducing production costs. Use practical effects. Practical effects, such as makeup, puppetry, and animatronics, can be a cost-effective alternative to digital special effects. Practical effects can create a more authentic and realistic look, and can also help reduce post-production costs. Limit the use of CGI. Computer-generated imagery, CGI, can be expensive and time-consuming to create. To reduce costs, limit the use of CGI to only those shots that are essential to the story. This can help ensure that the special effects used are impactful and meaningful. Choose practical locations. When choosing locations for filming, consider practical locations that require minimal special effects. For example, if a scene takes place in a city, consider filming in an actual city rather than creating a digital city. This can help create a more authentic and realistic look while also reducing the need for expensive special effects. Opt for simpler effects. Simple effects such as matte paintings, wire removal, and color correction can be effective in enhancing the visual impact of a film without requiring excessive amounts of time or resources. By opting for simpler effects, you can reduce the cost of post-production while still achieving the desired visual impact. Plan ahead. Planning ahead is essential to reducing special effects costs.
Filmmaking is an art form that requires a multitude of elements to come together in order to create a successful and engaging film. Here are some of the most important factors that contribute to the success of a film. Storytelling. At the heart of every great film is a great story. Whether it's a complex character-driven narrative or a simple, straightforward plot, a compelling story is what keeps audiences engaged and invested in the film. A well-told story can evoke a range of emotions in viewers and leave a lasting impact. Cinematography. Cinematography is the art of capturing the visual elements of a film. From framing and lighting to camera movement and composition, cinematography can help create a distinct visual style and tone for a film. A skilled cinematographer can use these elements to tell the story in a more nuanced and visually striking way. Sound. Sound is a critical component of any film, contributing to the overall emotional impact and atmosphere of the story. From dialogue to sound effects and music, the right mix of sound can help create a more immersive and engaging experience for viewers. Acting. Acting is the foundation of any film, and the performances of the actors can make or break a film. A great actor can bring a character to life and create an emotional connection with the audience, while a poor performance can be distracting and take away from the story. Production design. Production design is the process of creating the visual elements of a film, including sets, costumes, props, and makeup. These elements can help create a distinct and immersive world for the story to take place in and can add depth and meaning to the narrative. Editing. Editing is the process of assembling the footage of a film into a coherent and engaging story. The right editing can help establish the pacing and tone of the film, and can help shape the emotional impact of the story. Directing. Directing is the art of guiding the actors and crew in the creation of a film. A skilled director can bring all of these elements together to create a cohesive and impactful story that resonates with audiences. In conclusion, a successful film requires a multitude of elements to come together in a cohesive and impactful way. From storytelling and cinematography to sound, acting, production design, editing, and directing, each of these factors plays a critical role in creating a memorable and engaging film. By paying careful attention to each of these elements and approaching filmmaking with intention and care, filmmakers can create works that resonate with audiences and stand the test of time. Storytelling is the foundation of any great film. A well-told story can transport audiences to new worlds, introduce them to fascinating characters, and leave them with a lasting emotional impact. Here are some tips for effective storytelling in film. Develop compelling characters. The key to any great story is memorable and well-developed characters. Whether they are the heroes or villains of the story, audiences should be able to relate to and care about the characters on screen. Creating characters with depth and complexity can help make them feel more realistic and engaging. Establish a clear and compelling narrative. The narrative structure of a film can have a significant impact on its overall effectiveness. A clear and compelling narrative can help guide the audience through the story and keep them engaged. This can include elements like a well-defined plot, a central conflict, and effective pacing. Use visual storytelling. Visual storytelling is the art of using visual elements to communicate a story. This can include things like camera movement, composition, and lighting, as well as more technical elements like sound design and music. Effective use of visual storytelling can help create a more immersive and engaging experience for viewers. Create emotional resonance. The best films are often those that evoke a strong emotional response from viewers. This can include a range of emotions, from joy and laughter to sadness and fear. By creating characters and situations that audiences can emotionally invest in, filmmakers can create a deeper connection with their viewers. Pay attention to details. The smallest details can often have a significant impact on the overall effectiveness of a film. This can include everything from the choice of costumes and props to the use of color and lighting. By paying careful attention to these details, filmmakers can create a more immersive and believable world for their story. Acting is a critical component of any film. The performances of the actors can bring the characters to life, create an emotional connection with the audience, and ultimately help to drive the story forward. Here are some tips for effective acting in film. Create a believable and consistent character. The key to effective acting is creating a believable and consistent character. This means understanding the character's motivations, emotions, and behaviors, and portraying them in a way that feels authentic and true to life. By fully embodying the character, actors can help create a more immersive and engaging experience for the audience. Listen and react. Acting is not just about delivering lines, it is also about listening and reacting to other actors on screen. By actively listening and responding to other characters, actors can create more dynamic and realistic performances that feel more grounded in reality. Use physicality and body language. Effective acting often involves more than just facial expressions and vocal inflections. The use of physicality and body language can help convey the character's emotions and motivations in a more subtle and nuanced way. This can include things like posture, gestures, and facial expressions. Collaborate with the director and other actors. Acting is not a solo endeavor, it is a collaborative process that involves working closely with the director and other actors. By taking direction and feedback from the director and collaborating with other actors on screen, actors can create performances that feel more organic and authentic. Be open to experimentation and improvisation. Effective acting often involves a willingness to take risks and try new things. By being open to experimentation and improvisation, actors can create performances that feel more spontaneous and natural. This can involve trying out different line readings, gestures, or expressions until the right one feels right. Production design plays a critical role in the success of any film. It involves creating the look and feel of the film world, from the overall visual aesthetic to the smallest details of the set and props. Here are some tips for effective production design in film. Create a cohesive visual style. The visual style of a film can have a significant impact on its overall effectiveness. By creating a cohesive visual style that is consistent throughout the film, production designers can help create a more immersive and engaging experience for the audience.
Professional filmmaking requires adherence to certain principles and techniques to ensure the best possible result. Here are some of the fundamental principles of professional filmmaking. Plan and prepare thoroughly. Preparation is key to successful filmmaking. This includes planning the shoot in advance, scouting locations, developing shot lists, and preparing the necessary equipment. By taking the time to plan and prepare thoroughly, filmmakers can ensure that the shoot runs smoothly and that they capture the shots they need. Use the right equipment. Professional filmmaking requires the use of high-quality equipment. This includes cameras, lenses, lighting, and sound equipment. Using the right equipment can help ensure that the final product looks and sounds professional. Focus on storytelling. Filmmaking is ultimately about storytelling. Professional filmmakers know how to use visuals, sound, and other techniques to tell compelling stories that engage and entertain the audience. This requires a deep understanding of storytelling principles, as well as the ability to craft an engaging narrative. Be creative. Professional filmmakers are often known for their creativity. This includes the ability to come up with innovative shot ideas, use lighting and sound creatively, and experiment with different techniques to create unique and memorable films. Collaborate effectively. Filmmaking is a collaborative process that requires the cooperation and input of many different individuals. Professional filmmakers know how to work effectively with others, including actors, crew members, and post-production professionals, to ensure that the final product meets their vision. Use visual language. Visual language is the use of visual elements, such as framing, composition, and movement, to tell a story. Professional filmmakers understand how to use visual language effectively to create dynamic and engaging films. Control the pacing. The pacing of a film can have a significant impact on its effectiveness. Professional filmmakers know how to control the pacing of their films, using editing, sound, and other techniques to create a sense of tension, excitement, and drama. Pay attention to detail. Details can make a big difference in filmmaking. Professional filmmakers pay attention to every detail, from the framing of each shot to the placement of props on the set. This attention to detail can help create a more immersive and believable film world. In conclusion, professional filmmaking requires adherence to certain principles and techniques. By planning and preparing thoroughly, using the right equipment, focusing on storytelling, being creative, collaborating effectively, using visual language, controlling the pacing, and paying attention to detail, filmmakers can create compelling and engaging films that stand the test of time. Creativity is a crucial element of professional filmmaking. It is what sets apart great filmmakers from average ones. Here are some tips for being creative in filmmaking. Take risks. Creativity involves taking risks and trying new things. Don't be afraid to experiment with different techniques, shot angles, or sound effects. This can lead to discovering unique and exciting ways to tell a story. Use different camera angles and movements. Using different camera angles and movements can help create a dynamic and engaging film. Try experimenting with camera movement, such as tracking shots or handheld shots, and different camera angles, such as high or low angles, to create a visually interesting film. Think outside the box. Sometimes, the best ideas come from thinking outside the box. Don't limit yourself to conventional ideas or techniques. Instead, try to come up with new and unique ways to tell a story. Collaborate with others. Collaboration can lead to new and exciting ideas. Work with others, including actors, crew members, and post-production professionals, to brainstorm new and creative ideas for your film. Use sound creatively. Sound can be just as important as visuals in creating a compelling film. Try experimenting with sound effects and music to create a unique and immersive film experience. Play with lighting. Lighting can play a significant role in creating a visually interesting film. Experiment with different lighting techniques, such as using shadows or colored gels, to create a unique look and feel for your film. Focus on character development. Developing multidimensional characters can lead to more creative and engaging storytelling. Spend time developing your characters and their backstories to create a more interesting and dynamic story. In conclusion, creativity is an essential element of professional filmmaking. By taking risks, using different camera angles and movements, thinking outside the box, collaborating with others, using sound creatively, playing with lighting, and focusing on character development, filmmakers can create more innovative and engaging films that stand out from the crowd. Visual language is a powerful tool in professional filmmaking. It involves the use of visual elements, such as framing, composition, camera angles, and movement, to tell a story visually. Here are some tips for using visual language effectively in filmmaking. Choose the right framing and composition. Framing and composition are essential elements of visual language. Choose the appropriate framing and composition to convey the mood and emotion of a scene. Use close-ups for emotional moments or to highlight details, and wide shots to establish the location and surroundings. Use camera angles to create visual interest. Camera angles can help create visual interest and convey the meaning of a scene. Low angles can make a character appear powerful, while high angles can make a character appear weak or vulnerable. Dutch angles can add tension and unease to a scene. Use camera movement to add energy and emotion. Camera movement, such as tracking shots or handheld shots, can add energy and emotion to a scene. Use camera movement to draw attention to important details or to create a sense of motion and movement. Pay attention to color and lighting. Color and lighting can have a significant impact on the visual language of a film. Use color and lighting to create a specific mood or atmosphere for a scene. The sound and music in a film are essential elements that can significantly impact the emotional impact of the story. Choosing the right sound and music can enhance the audience's engagement with the film and create a memorable viewing experience. Here are some tips for selecting sound and music for your film. Understand the tone and mood of your film. Before selecting sound and music for your film, it is essential to understand the tone and mood you want to convey. Consider the emotions you want the audience to feel and choose sound and music that will enhance those emotions. For example, if you want to create a suspenseful scene, choose tense and ominous music and use sound effects like creaking doors and footsteps to create tension. Choose music that fits the genre. The genre of the film can also guide the selection of music. For example, if you're creating a romantic comedy, you may want to choose upbeat and playful music. If it's a thriller, you may want to choose music that creates tension and unease. Consider the pacing of the film. The pacing of the film can also guide the selection of sound and music. If the film is fast-paced, use music with a quicker tempo to match the speed of the film. If it's slow-paced, use more subdued music to match the tempo. Use sound to enhance the visuals. Sound can also enhance the visuals of the film. For example, use sound effects like waves crashing or birds chirping to enhance scenes of nature. Use music to emphasize key moments, like when the hero saves the day. Use original music or licensed music. When selecting music for your film, you can choose to use original music created specifically for the film or licensed music. Original music can help create a unique sound for the film, while licensed music can provide recognizable and established tracks that can enhance the audience's connection to the story. Work with a sound designer or composer. If you're unsure of how to select the right sound and music for your film, consider working with a sound designer or composer. They can help you create a unique sound for your film and guide you in selecting the right music and sound effects to enhance the story. In conclusion, selecting the right sound and music for your film is essential to creating a compelling and engaging viewing experience. By understanding the tone and mood of the film, choosing music that fits the genre and pacing, using sound to enhance the visuals, selecting original or licensed music, and working with a sound designer or composer, you can create a unique and memorable sound for your film. Understanding the tone and mood of your film is crucial when selecting sound and music. The tone refers to the overall emotional atmosphere of the film, while the mood is the specific emotional feel of a particular scene. Here are some tips for understanding the tone and mood of your film. Consider the genre. Different film genres have different tone and mood requirements. For example, a horror film needs to be suspenseful and frightening, while a romantic comedy needs to be lighthearted and amusing. Understanding the genre will help you determine the tone and mood of your film. Analyze the script. Read the script carefully to identify the tone and mood of each scene. Consider the characters' emotions and motivations and the atmosphere of the setting. This analysis will help you determine what kind of sound and music will fit the scene and enhance the story. Watch similar films. Watching films that are similar in tone and genre to your film can help you understand the kind of sound and music that works best. Pay attention to the sound design, the use of music, and the overall tone and mood of the film. Work with the director. Collaborating with the director is crucial in understanding the tone and mood of the film. The director may have a specific vision for the sound and music and can guide you in creating the right tone and mood. Consider the audience. The audience's emotional response to the film is also crucial in determining the tone and mood. Consider the age group and interests of the target audience and select sound and music that will resonate with them. Experiment with different options. When selecting sound and music, it is essential to experiment with different options. Try out different tracks and sound effects to see what works best for each scene. Don't be afraid to take risks and try something new. In conclusion, understanding the tone and mood of your film is crucial when selecting sound and music. By considering the genre, analyzing the script, watching similar films, working with the director, considering the audience, and experimenting with different options, you can select the right sound and music to enhance the emotional impact of your film. Choosing music that fits the genre of your film is essential to creating a cohesive and immersive viewing experience. Here are some tips for selecting music that fits the genre of your film. Research the genre. Research the genre of your film to understand the musical styles that are typically associated with it. For example, a Western film may feature country and folk music, while a romantic comedy may feature pop and love ballads. Consider the time period. If your film is set in a specific time period, consider using music from that era to create authenticity and enhance the audience's immersion in the story. Analyze the emotional tone. Consider the emotional tone of the scene or the overall film when selecting music. Choose music that fits the mood and enhances the emotions portrayed in the story. Use instrumental music. Instrumental music can be a great choice as it does not include lyrics that could distract the audience from the visual storytelling. Instrumental music can also be used to underscore emotional moments in the film without competing with the dialogue. Use popular music carefully. Popular music can be a great addition to a film, as it can enhance the audience's connection to the story through recognition and familiarity. However, it is important to use popular music carefully, as it can also become dated quickly and detract from the film's longevity. Work with a composer. Working with a composer can be an excellent way to create original music that fits the genre of your film. A composer can tailor the music to the specific tone and mood of each scene, creating a unique and cohesive musical experience. Working with a sound designer or composer can be an excellent way to take your film's sound to the next level. Here are some tips for working with a sound designer or composer. Start early. It is essential to start working with a sound designer or composer early in the production process. This allows them to become familiar with the project, understand the director's vision, and provide input during pre-production.
Color is an incredibly important tool in filmmaking, as it can convey emotions, set the mood, and create a visual language that enhances the story. Here are some tips on how to effectively use color in your film. Understand the psychology of color. Different colors can elicit different emotional responses in the audience. For example, red can symbolize passion, anger, or danger, while blue can evoke a sense of calmness or sadness. Understanding the psychology of color can help you make deliberate choices that enhance the story and create the desired emotional impact. Develop a color palette. Developing a color palette for your film can help create visual consistency and enhance the mood. A color palette is a selection of colors that are used throughout the film to convey a certain feeling or emotion. This can include the colors of costumes, sets, and lighting. Use color contrast. Contrasting colors can be used to create visual interest and emphasize certain elements in the frame. For example, a red dress against a green background can create a striking contrast and draw the viewer's attention. Use color grading in post-production. Color grading is the process of adjusting the colors in the film during post-production to enhance the mood and create a specific visual style. This can involve adjusting the brightness, contrast, and saturation of different colors to create the desired effect. Use color to establish time and place. Color can also be used to establish the time period and location of the film. For example, a film set in the 1950s may use warm, muted colors to create a vintage feel, while a film set in a futuristic city may use bright, neon colors to create a futuristic atmosphere. Be consistent. Consistency is key when using color in film. Make sure to establish a color palette early on and maintain it throughout the film. Inconsistencies in color can be jarring for the audience and detract from the story. In conclusion, color is a powerful tool in filmmaking that can be used to convey emotions, set the mood, and create a visual language that enhances the story. By understanding the psychology of color, developing a color palette, using color contrast, using color grading in post-production, using color to establish time and place, and being consistent, you can effectively use color to enhance the visual impact of your film. Understanding the psychology of color is essential to effectively using color in your film. Here are some examples of how different colors can convey different emotions and meanings. Red. Red is a color that can symbolize passion, love, anger, or danger. It can be used to create a sense of urgency or to draw attention to a particular element in the frame. Blue is a color that can symbolize calmness, sadness, or melancholy. It can be used to create a sense of serenity or to convey a sense of sadness or loss. Green is a color that can symbolize nature, growth, and harmony. It can be used to create a sense of tranquility or to convey a sense of vitality and growth. Yellow is a color that can symbolize happiness, joy, and optimism. It can be used to create a sense of energy and vitality or to convey a sense of happiness and positivity. Purple is a color that can symbolize royalty, luxury, and creativity. It can be used to create a sense of elegance or to convey a sense of mystery and creativity. Black is a color that can symbolize darkness, mystery, or sophistication. It can be used to create a sense of elegance or to convey a sense of mystery and suspense. White is a color that can symbolize purity, innocence, and simplicity. It can be used to create a sense of cleanliness or to convey a sense of simplicity and minimalism. Incorporating these different colors into your film can create a visual language that enhances the story and creates an emotional impact on the audience. Understanding the psychology of color is a powerful tool that can help you make deliberate choices about the use of color in your film. Developing a color palette is an important step in using color effectively in your film. A color palette is a set of colors that are used consistently throughout the film to convey a certain mood or emotion. Here are some steps to help you develop a color palette. Determine the overall mood of your film. Before selecting colors for your palette, you need to have a clear understanding of the overall mood and tone of your film. Is it dark and moody or light and cheerful? Is it set in a futuristic world or a historic period? Choose a dominant color. Once you have determined the overall mood of your film, choose a dominant color that will set the tone for the rest of the palette. This color should be one that best represents the mood or emotion you want to convey. Choose complementary colors. Complementary colors are those that are opposite each other on the color wheel. These colors can create a pleasing contrast and enhance the overall impact of the dominant color. Choose 2 to 3 complementary colors that work well with your dominant color. Add accent colors. Accent colors are used sparingly to add visual interest to the palette. These colors should be used to draw attention to specific elements in the frame, such as props or costumes. Consider cultural and historical associations. Colors can have different meanings in different cultures and historical periods. Consider these associations when choosing colors for your palette to ensure that you are not unintentionally conveying a message that is inappropriate or inaccurate. Be consistent. Once you have chosen your colors, be sure to use them consistently throughout the film. This will help create visual cohesion and enhance the overall impact of the colors on the audience. In conclusion, developing a color palette is an important step in using color effectively in your film. By considering the overall mood of your film, choosing a dominant color, selecting complementary and accent colors. By considering the overall mood of your film, choosing a dominant color, selecting complementary and accent colors. Considering cultural and historical associations, and being consistent in your use of color, you can create a visual language that enhances the story and creates an emotional impact on the audience. Considering cultural and historical associations and being consistent in your use of color, you can create a visual language that enhances the story and creates an emotional impact on the audience. How to use light and color to create atmosphere in your film. How to use light and color to create atmosphere in your film. When it comes to filmmaking, there are many techniques that can be used to create a specific mood or atmosphere. One of the most powerful tools in a filmmaker's arsenal is the use of light and color. By manipulating these elements, filmmakers can evoke a range of emotions in their audience, from joy and excitement to fear and sadness. In this article, we will explore the various ways in which light and color can be used to create atmosphere in your film. Understanding the basics. Before we dive into the specifics of using light and color to create atmosphere, it's important to understand the basics of how these elements work. Light is the foundation of all visual art forms, including filmmaking. It is the medium through which we see the world around us, and it can be manipulated in countless ways to create different effects. Color, on the other hand, is a byproduct of light. When light hits an object, some wavelengths are absorbed and others are reflected, creating the colors that we see. In filmmaking, light and color are used in a variety of ways to create atmosphere. They can be used to suggest the time of day or the location of a scene, to create a sense of intimacy or distance between characters, or to evoke a particular emotion in the viewer. Let's take a closer look at some of the specific techniques that can be used to achieve these effects. Using color temperature. One of the most basic ways to use color to create atmosphere in your film is by manipulating color temperature. Color temperature refers to the relative warmth or coolness of a light source. It is measured in Kelvin, K, with lower numbers indicating warmer colors, such as orange and yellow, and higher numbers indicating cooler colors, such as blue and green. By using warmer colors, such as orange or yellow, in your lighting, you can create a sense of warmth and intimacy in your scenes. This can be particularly effective in romantic or emotional scenes, where the warmth of the light can help to create a sense of closeness between characters. Conversely, cooler colors, such as blue or green, can be used to create a sense of distance or detachment. This can be effective in scenes where characters are feeling isolated or disconnected from one another. Using color contrast. Another way to use color to create atmosphere is by using color contrast. Color contrast refers to the difference between two or more colors in a scene. By using contrasting colors, you can create a sense of tension or conflict in your scenes. For example, contrasting warm colors, such as orange and red, against cool colors, such as blue and green, can create a sense of conflict or tension between characters. Using color contrast can also be effective in creating a sense of mood or emotion. For example, using a bright, saturated color, such as red, against a muted, desaturated background can create a sense of intensity or urgency in a scene. Conversely, using muted or desaturated colors can create a sense of sadness or melancholy. Using light direction. The direction of your lighting can also have a significant impact on the atmosphere of your film. By using directional lighting, such as a key light or a backlight, you can create a sense of depth and dimensionality in your scenes. This can be particularly effective in creating a sense of drama or tension. For example, using a key light to create strong shadows on a character's face can create a sense of mystery or danger. Similarly, using a backlight to create a halo effect around a character's head can create a sense of spirituality or otherworldliness. Using light intensity. Finally, the intensity of your lighting can also be used to create atmosphere in your film. By using bright, intense lighting, you can create a sense of excitement or energy. This can be particularly effective in action or adventure scenes, where you want to create a sense of urgency or excitement. Conversely, using dim or low lighting can create a sense of mystery or suspense. This can be effective in horror or thriller scenes, where you want to create a sense of fear or unease. By playing with the intensity of your lighting, you can create a wide range of different moods and emotions in your film. Continuing from the previous section, let's explore some additional ways in which light and color can be used to create atmosphere in your film. Using color symbolism. Color symbolism is another powerful tool that can be used to create atmosphere in your film. Certain colors have specific associations and meanings that can be used to convey mood, emotion, or character traits. For example, red is often associated with passion, love, and danger, while blue is associated with calmness, stability, and sadness. By using these colors strategically in your film, you can create a sense of symbolism and meaning that can enhance the emotional impact of your scenes. Using light and color transitions. Transitions between scenes can also be an effective way to use light and color to create atmosphere. By using a specific color or lighting scheme for each scene, you can create a sense of continuity and coherence throughout your film. For example, you might use warm, orange lighting for scenes set during the daytime, and cool, blue lighting for scenes set at night. By transitioning between these two color schemes, you can create a sense of time passing and reinforce the continuity of your story. Using light and color to create contrast. Finally, using light and color to create contrast can be an effective way to create atmosphere in your film. By contrasting bright, vibrant colors with muted, desaturated colors, you can create a sense of tension and conflict. Similarly, using contrasting light and dark areas in your scenes can create a sense of drama and intensity. By using these techniques to create contrast, you can make your scenes more visually dynamic and engaging. Continuing from the previous section, let's explore some more advanced techniques for using light and color to create atmosphere in your film. How to stage scenes and how to do dubbing techniques for documentaries. How to stage scenes and perform voiceovers for documentary films. Documentary filmmaking is a challenging and rewarding art form that requires a unique set of skills and techniques. One of the key elements of creating a successful documentary is the ability to stage scenes and perform voiceovers in a way that engages your audience and captures the essence of your story. In this article, we will explore some of the key techniques for staging scenes and performing voiceovers in documentary filmmaking. Staging scenes. Staging scenes in documentary filmmaking involves creating a visual and narrative context for your story. This can involve setting up interviews, capturing footage of real-world events, or creating reenactments of historical events. One of the most important aspects of staging scenes is creating a sense of authenticity and realism. This can involve careful attention to detail, such as using authentic props and costumes, or working with actors and interviewees to capture their natural behaviors and mannerisms. Another important aspect of staging scenes is creating a clear narrative structure. This can involve carefully planning your shots and editing your footage to create a cohesive and engaging story. Here are some tips for staging scenes in documentary filmmaking. Research and planning. Before you begin filming, it's important to do your research and plan out your shots and scenes in advance. This can involve creating a storyboard, scouting locations, and scheduling interviews. Use authentic props and costumes. When creating reenactments or historical scenes, it's important to use authentic props and costumes to create a sense of realism and accuracy. Capture natural behaviors. When working with actors or interviewees, it's important to capture their natural behaviors and mannerisms to create a sense of authenticity. Pay attention to lighting and framing. Lighting and framing are essential elements of creating engaging and visually appealing scenes. Be sure to pay attention to these elements when staging your scenes. Performing voiceovers. Voiceovers are an essential element of documentary filmmaking, as they can provide context, narration, and emotional resonance for your story. Performing voiceovers requires a combination of technical and creative skills, including voice acting, writing, and editing. Here are some tips for performing voiceovers in documentary filmmaking. Practice your voice acting. Voice acting is a skill that requires practice and training. Take the time to practice your voice acting skills, including tone, pacing, and inflection. Write a script. Before performing your voiceover, it's important to write a script that captures the essence of your story and provides context for your footage. Record in a quiet space. Recording quality is essential for creating a professional-sounding voiceover. Record in a quiet space, free from background noise and distractions. Edit your voiceover. After recording your voiceover, it's important to edit it and refine your performance. This can involve removing unwanted noise, adjusting the pacing, and adding music or sound effects. Continuing from the previous section, let's explore some more advanced techniques for staging scenes and performing voiceovers in documentary filmmaking. Staging action and movement. Staging action and movement is an important aspect of creating engaging and visually compelling scenes in documentary filmmaking. This can involve capturing real-world events, such as protests or demonstrations, or creating reenactments of historical events. When staging action and movement, it's important to capture the energy and emotion of the moment. This can involve using a combination of wide and close-up shots to create a sense of depth and movement, or using slow-motion or time-lapse techniques to create a sense of drama or tension. Here are some tips for staging action and movement in documentary filmmaking. Use a combination of wide and close-up shots. When capturing action and movement, it's important to use a combination of wide and close-up shots to create a sense of depth and movement. Use slow-motion or time-lapse techniques. Slow-motion or time-lapse techniques can be used to create a sense of drama or tension when capturing action and movement. Capture emotion and energy. When capturing action and movement, be sure to capture the emotion and energy of the moment to create a sense of authenticity and engagement. Performing authentic voiceovers. Performing authentic voiceovers is an important aspect of creating a compelling and emotionally resonant documentary film. This can involve using your own voice or working with a professional voice actor to bring your narration to life. When performing voiceovers, it's important to create a sense of authenticity and connection with your audience. This can involve using a conversational tone, speaking from the heart, and using personal anecdotes or stories to add emotional resonance to your narration. Here are some tips for performing authentic voiceovers in documentary filmmaking. Use a conversational tone. When performing voiceovers, use a conversational tone to create a sense of connection with your audience. Speak from the heart. Speak from the heart and use personal anecdotes or stories to add emotional resonance to your narration. Use pacing and inflection. Use pacing and inflection to create a sense of drama and tension in your narration. Edit your voiceover. After recording your voiceover, edit and refine your performance to create a professional-sounding narration. Using sound design. Sound design is an important aspect of documentary filmmaking that can be used to create a sense of atmosphere and emotional resonance in your footage. This can involve using music, sound effects, and ambient noise to add depth and texture to your scenes. When using sound design, it's important to create a sense of balance and coherence between your visuals and audio. This can involve using music to create a sense of mood or emotion, or using sound effects to enhance the realism and authenticity of your footage. Here are some tips for using sound design in documentary filmmaking. Use music to create mood. Use music to create a sense of mood or emotion in your scenes. Use sound effects to enhance realism. Use sound effects to enhance the realism and authenticity of your footage. Use ambient noise to add texture. Use ambient noise to add depth and texture to your scenes. Continuing from the previous section, let's explore some additional techniques for staging scenes and performing voiceovers in documentary filmmaking. Using interviews.